Hey gang, welcome to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm going to do 10 of the greatest bass players that can sing, and the reason for doing this is I feel like there's a lot of instrumentalists out there that could possibly see themselves as being the singer of their own band or their own project or doing their own music, and they're kind of on the fence. Guy, can I do this? I don't know if I can, and they really don't know and don't have the confidence to answer that question, and the question is absolutely yes, you can. I started out as a guitar player, I taught myself how to sing, and I learned to sing very well, I might add, through a lot of training and putting in a lot of hours. Now, I have a singing course. It's called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else. So if you're interested in the prospect of learning how to play and sing at the same time, click on right here, Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy. You can check out my singing course, or just go check out my singing forums. I got over 15,000 people in there with great moderators that can help you on your journey to determine whether or not you want to learn how to sing or not. Now, also, I wanted to stay focused more on instrumentalists and musicians that could sing, not just bass players that could sing, but starting out kind of bass players that played well as musicians and instrumentalists and that also could sing decent. So with that said, I'm starting with Lemmy Kilmister. Now, Lemmy's a funny guy and pretty notorious because he started out as a roadie and was also known as being Jimi Hendrix acid drug dealer. I kid you not. And I want to quote something. It said, when asked if he learned anything from Jimi Hendrix, he said, "Yeah, I learned to give up the guitar and play bass instead." He was so enamored with Jimmy's playing and he realized, I think I'll just be a bass player. But not sure when he learned how to sing, though I do have a funny story about him being one of those guys that look up like this and sing like this and stricture off all the trachea and the windpipe. I actually got a chance to do a little tour with Lemmy in a band I was in the 80s, and he was actually doing the MTV show at the time and interviewed my band for the show. And I asked him point blank why he looked up and sang like that, and he said they used to do a lot of shows that were bars and kind of, really hardcore places where a lot of fights broke out, but the show must go on, so the band would just kind of play right through it, fists flying and chairs going and bottles breaking and whatnot. The band would play through these bar fights, and so he learned to sing up like this, apparently. So with that said, let's check out Lemmy Kilmister. Now, before I go into this, stick around because I'm going to do a lot of honorable mentions after the top 10. And if you feel like I missed somebody, please put in the comment sections who you think I've missed. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so I could get more videos coming your way of this ilk. So with that said, let's check out Lemmy. All right, now we have Jack Blades from the band Night Ranger. Now, Jack is actually an exceptional bass player and a decent singer. Night Ranger was one of my favorite 80s bands. I love, in fact, two guitar players, Brad Gillis and Jeff Watson, were extraordinary players. And Jeff Watson actually played on one of my albums, Wake the Nation. So if you get a chance, check that out. But let's check out Jack Blades from Night Ranger. I've been 25 years, I'm a king on the run. Got a bit of pressure. Don't tell me you love me. Of course, this bassist needs no announcing. It's Gene Simmons from the band Kiss. Gene is pretty notorious for being a great businessman, a bass player, and a singer. I Want to Rock and Roll All Night, a lot of Kiss songs. I got a chance to work with Gene on some Kiss music. You can check it out on The Vault and also on Vinyl Confessions, I believe the album was, a song called I Confess. So with that said, let's check out Gene Simmons. Stand up, you don't have to be afraid. Get down, let's knock a hurricane. All right, next in is Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. Now, Brian lost his hearing early on in life and did most of life with hearing only out of one ear. Could you imagine writing all that incredible Beach Boy music and only being able to hear out of one side? So kind of like living in mono really all your life. Nonetheless, quite the bass player, quite the composer and singer. So that said, let's check out Brian Wilson. Next, we have Kip Winger from the band Winger. Now, I personally feel like Kip is one of those guys that never really got the notoriety he deserves. He is just an exceptional instrumentalist, extraordinary bass player, great singer, great songwriter, and great composer. It's few of those bands never actually quite have made it through to that icon status as, a Motley Crue or a Poison, though they certainly should have, and Kip is definitely one of those guys. So let's check out Kip Winger. Next in, we have Jack Bruce. Now, Jack has an interesting story because he went through 14 different music schools as a child, ending up at the Royal Academy in London, all of whom told him that they didn't like his ideas and just didn't think he was that great. I know he was a busy bassist, it's true. Ironically, though, think about this one. He went on to play with John McLaughlin and Ginger Baker, which is crazy for my instrumentalist friends out there who know John McLaughlin as a guitar player. Dancing Madly Backwards, I learned that song too as a kid. That was fun. But anyway, and then went on, of course, to play with Ginger Baker and none other than Eric Clapton, and we all know the rest of that story. So with that said, let's check out Jack Bruce.
I've been waiting so long to be where I'm going in the sunshine of your love.
Next, we have Benjamin Orr from The Cars. Exceptional bass player, exceptional singer, good songwriter, co-founding member of The Cars. Probably remember him from singing songs like Drive or Let's Go, or another piece was Just What I Needed. One thing about Benjamin that was cool is I've seen him live, and man, his vocals were spot on every time live. And The Cars music wasn't that easy of music to play. It's pretty difficult and intricate. So anyway, with that said, let's check out Benjamin Orr.
You're just what I need. You're just what I need.
Then, of course, there's the legendary Roger Waters from Pink Floyd. Now, think about this. A song like Comfortably Numb. Hello, hello, hello. Is there anybody in there, right? What would that song be without that emotive, crazy, mysterious, creepy sort of vocal, right? If that got handed off to somebody else that was more of a singer in that sense, I don't think it would have come off quite the same way because he was expressing something that was in his mind. So this should be a lesson to all of us instrumentalists out there that he's singing his own thing and can actually project and present his own art in a way that no one else can. So let's check out Roger Waters.
Is there anybody in there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone at home?
All right, coming to you from Manchester, England is Phil Lynott from the band Thin Lizzy. Now, Thin Lizzy had a lot of really great players in the band, so in order to play bass for that band, you better be a great bass player, and he was a great songwriter and vocalist. Now, Steve Perry and Neil Schon had said that was one of their greatest songwriting influences was how Phil Lynott's exchange of singing and playing, this interpolation, interplay between singing and playing from none other than Phil. Now, it's kind of funny, the song Boys Are Back in Town was actually about a real group of people called the Quality Criminals that used to come in to a pub that his mother ran in Manchester, England. So with that said, Phil Lynott, let's do it.
Well, guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that have been away hadn't changed, hadn't much to say. Man, I still think them cats are crazy.
Yet another incredibly talented bass-playing vocalist, singer, songwriter, producer extraordinaire is Peter Cetera for the band Chicago. Peter went on to have his own incredible solo career as well. Let's check out Peter.
Waiting for the break of day. Searching for something to say.
One of the greatest rock vocalists of all time is Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple. Now, Glenn played bass for Deep Purple and many other bands since, but imagine being a bass player like Glenn Hughes and also just having that kind of incredible voice. Glenn had to work at it. It wasn't something just thrown at him. Yes, he was naturally gifted, but that brother can sing and play bass. Check it out.
I don't understand. Last midnight, I still see the land. People say the woman is dead. Give me to go with the wave of a hand.
Ever wonder how some of these rock stars got their stage names? Well, Sting for me is no exception. Apparently, he used to wear a black and yellow sweater while playing in jazz clubs, and therefore he looked like a bumblebee and got the name Sting. So with that said, Sting from the Police and just an incredible solo career, amazing bass player, great singer, great songwriter, performer, lyricist, etc. Let's check out Sting.
Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. Those days are over. You don't have to say about it through the night.
And then, of course, there's Sir Paul McCartney. Not only is he a great bass player, but obviously a great singer, great lyricist, great songwriter, composer, multi-instrumentalist playing piano, etc., and one of the Beatles. So let's check out Sir Paul McCartney.
When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide, where I stop and I turn and I go for a ride, and I get to the bottom and I see you again. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Coming in at number 1 is Geddy Lee, the bass player for the band Rush. Now, Geddy is a consummate virtuoso bass player, actually a multi-instrumentalist, and Geddy actually got his name. His name was originally Gary, but his parents were from Poland, had a heavy accent, actually survivors of Dachau and Auschwitz in World War II, but couldn't pronounce his name Gary very well, so they called him Geddy. He embraced the name and made that his stage name, which I think is super awesome. So don't forget, we have a plethora, a bunch of really great honorable mentions coming up after this. And if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. And for all of you out there that are looking to possibly learn how to sing, especially you instrumentalists, all these bass players didn't just show up one day and just be great. They had to work at it and had to practice. You too can actually be a master of your own instrument, your vocal instrument. So check out my singing course. You can find it here at KenTamplinVocalAcademy.com. I can help you walk through the process. And until next time, gang, God bless you. Peace out.
Falling in love was the last thing I had on my mind. Holding you is a warmth that I thought I could never find.
I've been up, I've been down, took away my way around. I ain't asking for much. No, no, Lord, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some touch.
It's never the same again after you came and went. How can you say you meant anything different to anyone standing alone the street with a cigarette on the first night we met?
guys, if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button. That will actually take you to another page where you want to click on the bell icon, and it opens up a menu, and the menu has notifications on it where there's a little box you can check where it says send me all notifications for this channel. Check the box and then click the save button and you'll get notifications from me every time I have a cool video come out. Okay? Thanks guys. Peace out.